for the ultimate source of inspiration, knowledge, and entertainment, look no further. Network Kingdom is a unique platform that brings together experts from various industries. Through networking and collaboration, we create inspiring conversations that educate, entertain, and motivate our listeners. Whether you're a business professional, an entrepreneur, or simply someone looking to grow their knowledge base.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you. I really love the chair and the glasses and everything. Wow, thank you.
Thank you. So today I have with me a wonderful lady. I wish you could see two of us. You would think we planned it to have a touch of red today. Her name is Kristina Mand-Lakhiani. She's an international speaker. She's an entrepreneur. She's an artist, a philanthropist, and a mother of two. And she's the co-founder of Mindvalley. Now, I know that I've done a lot of courses on Mindvalley, and I'm sure you guys must have. She's a leading publisher in the personal growth industry, and she's dedicated 17 years of her career from teachers like Michael Beckwith, Proctor, Nichols, and many more. It's great to have you this morning, Kristina.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. Yeah, and it's a good morning.
Yeah, I am going to dive into your latest book, Flawesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to steal that word from you because I like the meaning. An individual who embraces their flaws and knows they are awesome regardless. Goodness, that takes a lot of boldness. Can you tell us a little bit of what led you to writing? It didn't just pop in your head. It's a very strong message. What led you to writing that book?
So it is definitely my own path that inspired me. And I have been in personal growth for a long time, 20 years by now. And when I wrote the book, it was a little less. Of course, I've learned from the best teachers that this industry has to offer, as you just mentioned. But it's usually your own experience which actually gives you the actual transformation, and that's something that I've discovered about our industry. You can keep going to events, classes, keep learning, and listening to all the wonderful ideas. And I tell you, all of those ideas have been around in the world for thousands of years. As soon as humans started thinking in abstract terms and got consciousness, they started coming up with wonderful ideas, because we have been existentialists all our lives. I think it's ancient philosophers who started asking, who am I and what I'm doing on this planet? So obviously we know a lot of ideas, but it's usually your personal experience which gives you the paradigm shift when the ideas move from the level of your brain to the level of your heart. So in my case, it was the same story. I've been in this industry for 20 years. I've heard a lot. I've learned from a lot of people. But when I hit 40, I guess I hit something which colloquially is known as midlife crisis. When you start questioning them. You know, you're like, I've lived now for a while, so is that what it is? So and being a perfectionist, I was doing all the right things, checking all the right boxes, but somehow I didn't feel that I was in the right place and doing the right thing. And that's how the journey started. So the word flawesome, thank you for the compliment. It's not mine. It was an orphan word on the internet that I discovered because nobody claimed it, but it was circulating around. But, you know, when I saw it, I immediately related to it. I got it. So that's why I adopted the word and I'm using it, but I don't claim that it's my word. So yeah, it was that time in your life when you already have some experience. You still have quite a bit of life ahead of you, and you already understand that that there's a picture perfection and there's reality, and they are sometimes quite far apart. That's when I had the need to face my dragons and to ask myself, am I going to accept them and live with them? Or what am I going to do with those dragons?
honestly like that. And a lot of us need to get to that point where we honestly just face these dragons. Otherwise, we don't live our best lives and we'll just leave this earth without really fulfilling what we were meant to fulfill on this earth. Now, going further, how did you deal with the pressure to be perfect? Now, running Mindvalley, running a company in the personal development field, and with all that you have put in, there's a lot of pressure society puts on you. There's also a lot of pressure you put on yourself as well, and all that to be perfect, to be seen a certain way. We have this impression that, oh, because she runs Mindvalley and she's been in the personal development space, she's above making mistakes, so she can't do a certain thing. And then you have all that, pressure. How were you able to? I hope I'm making sense.
Yes, absolutely. A few years ago when I started going on stage with the topic of happiness, there have been moments where I was less than happy, and I still had to do the speech because you know how it's in business. You do what you have to do no matter how you feel. And I was feeling myself like a fraud at times, thinking, who am I to teach you happiness if I'm not sure if I am happy? So I get it. We expect perfection from our teachers to a great degree. But you said it very precisely. You said sometimes we put the pressure on ourselves. I would venture to say that all the pressure that you feel is the pressure that you put on yourself, because you cannot really control what the world is going to expect from you, what the world is going to think about you, or how the world is going to judge you. People are going to feel, think, judge, whatever they like. And it has more to do with them than with you. So whatever pressure you feel, it's the pressure that you put on yourself. It's the pressure that you accept, even if you say that, oh, my family expects that from me, or my peers expect that from me, or my boss expects that from me. They can expect. The question, are you owning that expectation, which is not yours? And most of us, for whatever reason, we choose to own it, maybe because we are afraid of judgment, and that's why we try to please the world. But no matter how much we like to excuse our own choices with the opinion of the world, it is incredibly empowering to, and incredibly uncomfortable as well, by the way, to just admit that all the expectations of the world come down to your own expectations of yourself in the end of the day. And here it's super simple. You're the first person to judge yourself. You're the first person to put yourself under pressure. So it's in your hands to make a choice. And to just make this decision. And I know it's so hard. I remember I have this chapter in my book where I talk about how a paradigm shift is very often just a decision. It is just a decision very often. And my editor asked me, can you elaborate on that? But that's the interesting thing. How can you elaborate on a decision? It happens. One day you're just done and you can't do it anymore. And you finally have made this step into the abyss. Decision is like jumping out of the plane. Once you do it, you fly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that. So, speaking still on this perfection thing, what you said about going to speak about happiness and you're honestly not happy. It's quite relatable, and it still boils down to the pressure put on people based on and then pressure you put on yourself based on what you think society expects of you. Now, more than ever before, I also think that leaders need to be as authentic as possible, because the present generation appreciate your authenticity more than they appreciate who you claim you are. So you find more people coming out to tell their truth, which I believe that's what you have done here. That doesn't make it easy, because I'm looking at you, I've read your bio, and it almost sounds like you just lay in bed, sipping wine and writing a book, like it was effortless. But I know that a lot went into it. So when you're writing the chapter about the challenges you faced, and you're writing about things that you honestly had never discussed with anybody, and you also know that it's going to come as a shock to people that know you and have probably known you forever and had this perfect picture painted. Did you struggle, a bit?
I want to comment a little bit on being laid back and sipping wine. Yes, that's absolutely true image of me. I do enjoy having champagne. But I want to say a very counterintuitive thing. There is struggle in life, of course, and there are challenges, hard challenges. But challenges doesn't require time, in a sense. They take a lot of your powers. They take a lot of your emotional effort, and very often they're on the background, and you can keep living your life while having a challenge. They very often come from indecision. You can't make a decision and you keep struggling with that challenge in your hands. So challenge does take a lot of your mental capacity, your mental effort, but it doesn't take time. Because decision is literally like this. Once you make a decision, the path is clear, you can keep going. But it is very often we are afraid of making a decision. So we keep I call it indecision trap. So what we do is that we busy ourselves. Because you can't solve a problem, or you're afraid to solve a problem, or you're afraid to make the leap of faith. You start busying yourself to create an impression that I'm doing something in that direction, so you don't feel guilty. And that is what we often confuse. So you can actually solve your challenges without having to be a hamster in a wheel, because challenges have nothing to do with time. They have more to do with your emotions, with your values, with your capacity to be decisive, to stay true to what you are. That's what challenges have to do more with than with your time. They don't have claim on your time most of the time, So we like to busy ourselves because that's something what we understand. Busy is tangible.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, I'm so busy, I'm doing so much, I have no time for that nonsense. And you do that all your life, running away from something which is right there. And that's why you can be busy and not and be completely unfulfilled and unhappy, because you busy yourself away from solving the things that really matter. So yes, I do like to sip my wine. It gives me courage to look my dragons in the eyes and say, okay, now I'm going to solve you.
That is so true. Okay. You also said something about us being kind to ourselves. And that actually spoke to me, because it took me a while to actually learn to be kind to myself. And I know there are quite a number of people like me. We're our greatest critics,
yes.
And you're the first to criticize yourself. You're the first to put yourself down. And, at some point I was wondering, if you did this to yourself, why do you demand better from someone else? If you did that to yourself. So, but I realized that a lot of us have been programmed to be unkind to ourselves, consciously, unconsciously. But, for different reasons. Oh, no, don't praise yourself so it doesn't look like you're too proud. Don't do this, don't do that, especially with people that were brought up with a certain age of parents. So you were programmed technically to be unkind to yourself. So how did you deal with that? And how would you advise anyone to deal with that?
Yeah, self-kindness is quite an interesting topic, and self-love as well. But I think kindness is a little easier, and we don't talk about kindness enough. We glorify love, which we don't even define properly. And love is a hard thing to master. Kindness is much easier, because imagine if somebody has wronged you. It's so hard to love that person, for a regular human being, someone who had wronged you. Versus you can still choose to be kind to them. to treat them with kindness. So that's why I emphasize kindness over love, because you can be kind to imperfection, to flaws, to even wrongs. You can still be kind.
Yes.
So that's why I'm talking about kindness. But I think one of the reasons, and there are so many reasons why people have hard times being kind to themselves, one of the reasons is the paradigm in which we live. We live in the paradigm that truly believes that for success, you have to really be hard on yourself. Success has to be earned through hard work, through sacrifices, through being critical. That's a paradigm that we live in. We compare ourselves to others. We judge ourselves. We say that we are not good enough to ourselves. So yeah, it's a paradigm in which we grow up. Moreover, we even grow up in a paradigm that says that you have to earn love. Love is not to be given for nothing.
Yes.
When you're a child, let's say if you behave, your loving parent says, "Oh, I'm so proud of you." If you don't behave, very often the loving, good-meaning parents or teachers or peers, they withdraw love, at least seemingly, saying that you didn't deserve love, behave better, then I'll give you love. So naturally, when we grow up, we learn that paradigm and we think this is the right way to go. I know it for a fact because I've talked about self-love for a few years now, and I've heard people come up to me and say, "But isn't self-criticism healthy? It makes me move forward." And that's that slippery slope. The thing is that there are two ways to success. There's a paradigm of success through punishment, through fear. Work hard, because if you don't work hard, someone else is going to work hard in that time. If you don't work hard, somebody's going to overtake you. And then there is a paradigm of success through encouragement, a paradigm that grown-ups usually don't live by. Only small children have the privilege of, some of us have the privilege of being encouraged into our successes, where the parent says, "Never mind, you failed. It doesn't mean I don't love you. I still love you. I still have your back." And that's what I hope people to learn to do to themselves, because self-kindness is the fastest and easiest way to true courage, to go out in the world, show yourself the way you are, have the courage to be yourself and to challenge yourself. Because you know that you don't have to earn your own self-love. No matter how hard you fail, you still deserve your own love and respect. That's a huge difference. But society, the way we live in right now, is very unfamiliar with that different paradigm. So it's really hard sometimes to get it. I'm really sorry, my whole room is ringing because I'm using my kids' room and their phones are here and they're getting messages from their friends.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We're almost, we should be wrapping up now. I have one quick question before I tell you to give us your parting words. Now, I know that the book has a lot of reflection points. It has exercises and it has experiments. Is there room? Because personally, when I read some of these books, because I feel like I've had a transformational 20 minutes. So reading and studying Flawesome will definitely do more. Is it a book that one can have a mastermind with, or group study with, or like a group of women come together, read it, discuss, do the exercises? Is it structured like that?
So I'll give you a slightly longish answer. I hope you don't mind. Basically, yes, that book, the answer would be yes, you can do that. Then there's another layer to that. I believe that your path or your journey back to you is your personal journey. So imagine, I do not know if you've read or seen Hobbit, but Hobbit is this Bilbo Baggins dude who goes on a quest to slay the dragon. But he goes in a company, and while the journey is his, but there is a company. So while I believe that your journey back to you is your own journey, but it definitely helps to have company on that journey. Definitely it does. So it's an interesting balance, because you have to understand that nobody will have a transformation for you. But with that said, it is so much easier to share that path with someone else. So yes, definitely you can do that. Now, the other interesting aspect about the book is that, I actually grew up on classical literature, and I've learned my first lessons of personal growth through novels, through fiction, not through nonfiction. So I actually went to a school which had so much emphasis on literature that we had to learn it in the original language. For the longest time, I didn't read Confucius or any Chinese authors because I don't speak Chinese until I realized that I'd better just read it in translation. So with that said, of course, my book is I do hope that it is a journey which is maybe on par with actual classics, in the sense that I put so much more heart into it than my industry requires. Because for me, a book is an experience, it is a journey, and I wanted to keep it this way. I added exercises and reflections points to that because that's what my editor asked me, and that's what convention says. So it is a marriage of my personal quirkiness and my love for classical literature and the convention of our industry. It's a balance between the both.
I can't wait to go on that journey. I can't. And this brings us to a wrap. And this whole transformational conversation, that's what I want to call it, that I've had with you, it just reminds me of something I used to say to people when I was in college. And that is, no one, absolutely no one can love you more than you love yourself.
True.
So that brings us that. I mean, I remembered it when you talked about self-love and kindness. Thank you so much, Kristina. Before we go, is there anything you want to say to people that are listening?
We've talked about so many things, so I'll just quote Cinderella's mother from the 2005 movie. It's the movie.
A really classic.
A really beautiful blue dress. It is from the movie though. Yeah. Because she said it the best. She said, have courage and be kind. And I think that's what I want to leave your audience with.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kristina. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I wish you best of luck. And I'm looking out in June. I'll be the first to buy it in Nigeria.
Oh, thank you. Wow, really? Wow, that's so cool. So have a good day then.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
You've been listening to Network Kingdom with Omo Obulor. Remember, if you cannot see where you're going, ask someone who has been there before.